Welcome to the Activated Story Theater's 109th podcast.
This episode, the story is The Two Princesses, a tale from India.
Hi, I'm Dennis.
And I'm Kimberly.
And together we are the Activated Actors.
We are coming to you from somewhere in Pennsylvania. We just finished a show in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is home to the Little League Museum.
And Little League World Series. They play the World Series there. And it used to be where Grit newspaper was published originally for 111 years before it moved to Topeka, I think. Anyway.
Okay.
The building is still there.
Yes, it is. A rather neat historic town. Lots of fun things to do there. What have we been doing since our last podcast?
Well, we were in St. Louis.
Yes. Where
we watched the 4th of July fireworks, really great fireworks celebration. And we did something else really fun. I got a root canal.
No.
No, well, yes, I did, but that wasn't the fun thing.
We went to a museum in St. Louis that is very unique. And we've done a lot of museums. They start looking the same after you've been to one. You kind of seen the same exhibits. But the one that we went to in St. Louis is called the City Museum, and I have never seen anything like it before.
Yes, I'm a little puzzled as to why they call it a museum. It's more like a big playground for all
ages.
For all ages. It's an old building. Used to be a factory of some kind.
Used to be a shoelace factory.
Shoelace factory.
They still actually make shoelaces there in a little corner of it.
And in the gift shop, they still make shoelaces with some of the old equipment. But this is a 10-story building, I think.
At least,
and
yeah.
Every floor is just packed with stuff. There are all kinds of crawl spaces, things to climb on.
Yeah.
Slides like you wouldn't believe. There's a 10-story slide.
There's scaffolding to climb up. We climbed up on the inside of a dome shaped roof, and to get up there we climbed up the scaffolding. Then once you're outside, there's a garden on the roof, there's water.
There's a Ferris wheel on the roof.
There's a Ferris wheel on the water. You can kind of jump through the stones and you get a little splashed.
And there's a school bus that it's dangling over the edge of the roof, so you can get in the school bus and sit in the driver's seat and look down on the street.
And know that you never want to park on the top of a building like that. There's little spaceships that you can climb up to, and airplanes.
Well, there are a couple of old airplanes that are perched about 20 feet off the ground in front of the building, and you can climb on them and climb between them in these they're wire
cages,
tunnels.
Yeah, tunnels.
So there's no chance of falling off.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of fun to climb on.
If you're brave.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of slides to go on.
So if you're in St. Louis, the City Museum is a must. I think
there's also an arts and crafts lady who we cut snowflakes with, and she told us stories as we were cutting snowflakes. And these snowflakes aren't just your typical snowflakes. They look like dragons.
Dragons and all other kinds of shapes,
all kinds of ones you could choose from. And she also does doll craft. We didn't get to do that with her, but I also recommend you stop by and see the story lady there who does crafts. And
something else they have there is a circus school.
Yes.
For kids. Kids can go and learn circus skills. And
all ages can actually.
Well, all ages, yes. Absolutely. That's right. I think they said their oldest student was 85 or something.
80. Mm-hmm.
80. But we saw a group of kids who were students there perform a circus show for us.
They did juggling acts, they balanced on balls, they did trapeze acts and gymnastics.
Yeah, I don't know what their age range was, but I know the smallest was a little boy who was probably
about 6.
Well, he may have been older than he looked, but he was very short.
And very just incredible. He did these backflips like you wouldn't believe.
And then there was another boy, the biggest boy was probably 6'4", 6'5", and he was maybe 14, 15.
15 maybe.
But he was also very agile, despite his size.
All right, so we highly recommend the City Museum in St. Louis, Missouri. Stop by there. There's more to St. Louis than the Arch.
Yes, there's a lot more.
Well,
there are root canals, for one thing.
No, we don't like the root canal part. We do have a story for you. And this story is The Two Princesses.
Once upon a time, there lived a Raja, which is to say, a king, who was left with 2 daughters when his wife died. Not very long after his wife died, he married again. And his new wife was very cruel to his daughters. Sound familiar? One day, one of them said to the other,
"Let's not stay here anymore. Let's run away into the forest."
So they both ran away into the forest. and lived for many days on nuts and berries and roots. After a few days, they came to a big house which belonged to an ogre. But Mr. and Mrs. Ogre were away on business, attacking and terrorizing humans. "This house is huge. It must belong to an ogre, since the giants have all immigrated to Europe."
"Whoever lives here, they're not at home now. Let's go in and see if we can find anything to eat. Maybe they left some porridge to cool or something."
"Sounds good to me. I've had enough hippie food to last for years." So they went into the ogre's house and found some rice.
"I'll cook the rice. You keep a watch in case they come back."
So they cooked and ate the rice. And before they could wash up the dishes like good guests, Mr. and Mrs. Ogre returned home. The two princesses were so frightened that they ran up to the roof to hide. When Mr. Ogre came into the house, he looked around and said to his wife, "Somebody has been moving the furniture around. Everything looks different. Wife, did you hire an interior desecrator?"
"No, I don't know how the furniture got moved. Termites, maybe?"
"Well, at least nobody sat in a chair and broke it. I hate it when that happens. Do we also have mice who cooked the rice?"
"I don't know. Maybe nobody cooked it. It is instant rice."
Fee, fi, fiddlesticks. I smell human flesh and blood."
"Well, you should, dear. You've killed a lot of humans today. You probably earned your membership in the Ogres Union, maybe even in the Ogres United for Chasing Humans, otherwise known as OUCH."
"You think so? Well, I've certainly worked up a thirst. Let's go drink some water from the well. And with any luck, there'll be a frog or two in it."
So they went out and leaned over the well and drank and gobbled and slurped, just like the Ogre Book of Manners says you should. Meanwhile, when the two princesses saw them, they hatched a plan. They sneaked down behind the two ogres and pushed them into the well.
"Oh, help! I'm falling! Help! I'm melting!"
"Well, with the ogres gone, do you suppose we can stay here in this house for a while? That pillow upstairs looks a lot more comfortable than a tree stump."
"I suppose we could, just for a while, until the ogre's lawyers figure out who gets the property, but we should pretend to be poor peasants. And if anyone comes to the door, we should pretend to be poor absent peasants."
In the house, they found heaps and heaps of rich clothes and jewels, gold and silver, which the ogres had taken from the people they had murdered. There were also sheep and cows and goats in the pasture. One day, after one of the sisters had gone out to pasture to feed the animals, and the other was cleaning out the chimney, an old Rani, which is to say a queen, with her attendants stopped by after traveling for many days.
"How odd to find such a huge house in the middle of the forest. Oh, let us go in. The owners will doubtless give us a drink of water."
No, we mustn't. This is surely the house of an ogre."
"Oh, don't be ridiculous. Ogre architecture uses more earth tones. In fact, it uses more earth." Yoo-hoo! Whoever's in there, this is a Rani, which is to say a queen, and I'm thirsty. Bring me some water, please. Or else.
"There's no answer, Your Highness, but here's some water from the well around back."
"Oh, thank you." Yuck! Has a rather earthy taste to it. All right, I know there's somebody hiding in this house. "You in there! I am a Rani, which is to say a queen, and I command you to open this door. If you don't, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll have my soldiers break that door down."
The princess became frightened and decided she'd better let the woman in so nobody would get sued for damages.
"There you are. Now, who are you? And why are you here alone? Tell me the truth, or I'll have my soldier cut your head off."
The princess was terrified and began to cry. But she told the Rani, which is to say the queen, her saga, which is to say her story. But she forgot to mention her sister because she wanted to protect her.
Oh, pretty child, forgive me for my rudeness. Do not fear. I'll take you home with me, and perhaps you shall make a proper wife for one of my sons. Now, don't be afraid, and stop your crying. We'll get that soot cleaned off your face and put you in a nice dress. Oh, I'm not your fairy godmother, but I am rich.
So the Rani, which is to say the queen, took the girl with her. Now, the girl happened to have on her a string of pearls that the ogres had stolen. She untied them, and as they traveled, she dropped a pearl every few yards. And so she went on, dropping one pearl and then another and another, until they reached the palace where the Rani lived. She threw the last remaining pearl down just as they reached the palace gate. Meanwhile, the other sister had come back home and found that her sibling was gone.
Yoo-hoo! Sister, where are you? Oh, there's no use hiding. It's still your turn to wash the dishes.
But she looked and couldn't find her anywhere.
What is this? A pearl on the ground. Ooh, it looks like one from the necklace she was wearing. But why would it have come off her necklace? Oh my. I wonder if she was attacked by a pearl necklace-eating bear or something.
But as she continued to search, she found another one. And another.
Ah, I get it. She left me a trail of pearls to follow. Oh, thank heavens she didn't leave breadcrumbs or something. Bread is hard to come by around here.
Finally, after following the trail of pearls through the forest, she found the last one at the door to the Rani's palace.
A palace? How am I going to find her here? Oh, I have to disguise myself or someone may snatch me away, just as they did her.
By the side of the road, she noticed the shriveled, dry fur of an old tiger. The princess took the fur and washed it and put it on, and somehow it made her look like an old woman. She found an abandoned hut not far from the palace, so she began staying there. But try as she might, she couldn't find out anything about her sister. Near the palace there was a pond belonging to the Rani, and on this pond grew some crimson lotuses, the royal flower, which the Rani was very fond of. To this pond the princess would go every morning very early before it was light, and take off the old tiger skin that helped her to look like an old woman, and wash it and hang it out to dry, and wash her face and hands and bathe her feet in the cool water, and comb her beautiful hair. Then she would gather a lotus flower, such as she herself had worn when she was younger, and put it on so as to feel for a few minutes like herself again. One day, the Rani went to the pond and discovered
Someone has been stealing my lotuses. Lotus blossoms. There were 483 here yesterday, and now there are only 482. There used to be one right over there, but it's gone now. We must find this lotus thief and punish him, or her, or them, or whatever.
When she told her sons about it, one of them said, "I will hide in a tree and see what I can see."
So he hid in the tree all night, and in the very early morning, before it was light, who should come to the pond but an old woman, the same old woman he had seen near the palace gate.
"What's this? The thief is a frail old woman? How does she even manage to pluck the lotus blossoms? But wait, she's pulling off her skin. Ew, that's gross. Next thing I guess she'll be turning herself inside out. But wait, she's not an old woman at all. She's a beautiful girl. Imagine my astonishment. She was only wearing the fur of an animal. Wow, when she decided to hide, she really took it literally."
When the prince got home, he went straight to his mother, the Rani, and said,
"Mother, I have some news. I have decided who I would like to marry."
Oh, that is very good news indeed, assuming you really met whom, because if you met who, that implies that she decided for you.
Yeah, anyway, I have decided I want to marry the old beggar woman who lives in the hut down the road.
Oh, please don't make jokes like that while I'm drinking milk.
I'm not joking. I have made up my mind.
You're serious? You really intend to marry that skinny old raggedy hag? Oh, you must have lost your mind. Well, at least if you marry her,
It will save a lot of money on the wedding, because there's no way I'm going to invite any guests to see that happen.
So the prince asked the old beggar woman, who was really the young princess in disguise, to marry him. The princess was glad to have the chance to get inside the palace and maybe find her sister. And so they were married. And when the wedding was over, "Well, my dear wife, now that we are married, don't you think you should take off that ugly old hide?"
Huh? What do you mean? You don't like the way I look? Oh, I'm so insulted. Oh!
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean. I mean, oh, women. I wonder how long this is going to last.
It lasted for quite some time. The princess was afraid to make her true self known until she found out what had happened to her sister. So bright and early each morning, she would get up, go down to the pond and wash her hide and dry it, but she didn't take any more lotus blossoms because she didn't need any more husbands. Then one morning, her husband lay awake all night just pretending to sleep, and when his wife got up to go outside, he followed her.
So, she still goes down to the pond every night, eh?
And he hid in the bushes until she took off the animal hide, washed it in the pond, and hung it up to dry.
Aha! Let's see you deny it now.
Huh? What? Oh, you shouldn't sneak up on a person like that. You startled me completely out of my hide.
Nice try. You've been in disguise all along. But I don't know why. You're very beautiful. In fact, hey, you look almost exactly like my brother's wife, the girl who was found living in a big old house in the middle of the forest.
My sister! She married your brother? Oh, take me to her, take me to her.
And so there was a family reunion. They all lived happily for the rest of their days. The tiger's hide was given a decent burial, and the princesses were sisters once again. My husband is handsomer than yours.
Oh, he is not.
Is too.
He is not.
And that's the story of the two princesses from India.
I like that story. Okay, what stories did that remind you of? You're not going to answer it. No.
There are about 4 different stories I can think
There
of.
are at least 4 different stories that are kind of in that story. So write it down to us. We'd like to hear what you think. You can call us, 800-429-6576, and leave us a voicemail telling us what stories that story reminded you of, and we'll play your answer on the next podcast. Or you can write it in the comment section. So let us know, what stories did that remind you of?
And by the way, we chose that because August 7th is Sister's Day.
Oh, so that's coming up, August 7th.
Yes.
So we get to go hug our sisters.
Yes.
I hope you have a sister, and if not, adopt one for the day.
Okay, I'll be your sister.
No, you cannot be my sister.
Oh.
All right, well, we are in the middle of our summer tour. We do have some more shows coming up. We started this tour in Reno, Nevada. We are now in Pennsylvania, just finished our shows here, but we have shows coming up in New Jersey. On Monday, we will be in Parsippany, New Jersey. That's Monday the 18th. On the 19th, we're in Westfield. And on the 20th, we're in Summit, New Jersey. On the 21st, we're in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. On the 22nd, we are in Jackson and Toms River, New Jersey. Then we are going to West Orange on the 25th, followed by North Arlington on the 27th, and on the 28th, Whippany, New Jersey. So quite a few shows coming up at New Jersey libraries. We're going to be celebrating the summer reading theme, which this year is One World Mini Stories. And when we're done with New Jersey, we have a show coming up in Connecticut. That'll be in Burlington, Connecticut on August 2nd. August 3rd, we're in Boxborough, Massachusetts. Then we go to Randolph, Massachusetts on the 4th, and Revere on the 9th. Then we are, and this will all be on our website, so you can always just click on our link to activatedstorytheater.com/schedule.html. And we'll put a link there, of course, on the website, so you can jump right to our schedule and find out where we are when. If you have any friends, family, we'd love to have them to the show. On the 16th, we're in Quincy, Massachusetts. We'll be back in one of our favorite libraries, the Thomas Crane Library. And on the 17th, we'll be winding up our summer tour with a show in Abington, Massachusetts. So please come to a show.
It's interesting we're doing Whippany and Parsippany, New Jersey both this week because we did both of those in one day in our first week on the East Coast.
Did we really?
19 years ago.
How do you remember these things?
Oh, some things are just embedded in my memory. In fact, that was our second day of national touring.
Okay, I do remember Parsippany.
We did Whippany and Parsippany. There were schools, not libraries, but we did them both on the same day. And now we're doing them at the libraries in the same week.
Wow. Wow. It all comes full cycle. But
Yeah.
interesting. So we hope that you get a chance to see one of our live shows. Our live shows feature a lot of physical comedy, American Sign Language, props, costumes, a monkey, a dragon. So we hope you can come see one of our public shows. And then this fall we'll be doing shows at schools in the Northeast. So if your school, if you know of a school up in the Northeast, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New Jersey,
Connecticut, Rhode Island,
Connecticut, please let us know and we get some information to them.
I guess that about covers it for this time.
It does. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you on down the road.
Hug your sister. Bye.
Bye.
Activated Story Theater is committed to bringing fun, educational shows to schools and libraries nationwide. On stage, we use physical comedy, American Sign Language, imaginative props, and a giant, oversized book to bring multicultural folktales to life. For booking information, check out our website, activatedstorytheater.com, where you can also find out when the activated actors will be performing near you. Read a story, or order one of our audio CDs. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or listen on Stitcher. We look forward to your comments and folktale suggestions. Stay activated. Until next time.